Yo dog, Kitty Boucher here, Next Level Painting. Hitting you up with a quick little tutorial here in the middle of the week. I normally don't do these, but here we go. Painting 5 Blood Angel Scouts and a Sanguinary Priest. This is part 1. This may be a 3-part series, I don't know. I did have a little bit of time this week, like I know I've been saying I'm getting swamped, and I am, but I still found a little bit of time. So here we are, we're laying down the base color on these gray prime scouts. Now I'm doing something kind of interesting here. I have 1 billion ways to paint red. This is like the easiest. This is like intro beginner's way to do red. There is no tricks here. This is just simple as can be. We're using burnt umber. We are hitting these models straight up. Then we're going to pull out a red. We're going to pull out this Kato red, and we're just going to lightly highlight these guys. I mean, really simple. Just bring in the highlights where you think they should be. I'm going top down, standard Zenithal highlight, really easy. Burnt umber is really cool because in addition to being a pretty solid base for red, it also gets in all the nooks and crannies and creates a dark shade that is kind of natural, a little bit more natural than black would ever be. Like if so this is a really good starting point. This is, like I said, this is really like beginner's way to do red, but it will come out good. You'll see. Just stick with me, check out the tutorials, and see these as they drop. You'll see this is really easy and it comes out really good. And you can see here I am laying the red down on a burnt umber bike, and you can see how easy it is to create the transition. It's super simple, man. Just feather it, make sure you have the appropriate amount of water in there because this is a privateer paint, which is a little bit thicker, but it has good coverage. You just need to water it down a little bit. And here's the Sanguinary Priest. So this is that Blood Angel stuff I was talking about. 5 Blood Angel Scouts and a Sanguinary Priest on bike. You cannot go wrong with this. It is so cheap. It makes so many things so much better. Like, just if you play Imperial, Centurions, bikes, anything. Get this little ally. So anyway, I'm moving on to the orange, and I mix it in with another Vallejo color called Scarlet Red. I'll go 50-50 on this. Scarlet Red is like the OG blood red that GW used to have. I mix it in with the orange, and I'm creating just a really subtle highlight here. So we're going from the brown to the red to this subtly way more orangey red. Just subtle. Don't go overkill here. Use control. If you go overkill here, it will look like a sunrise. It will not look good. You don't want that. Just spot it on. Just be subtle with this effect. It will pop, pop, pop. This will really help later when we come back to the red and we edge highlight it with the paintbrush. This will really drive it home. But you got to do it right now. So back to what I was saying here while you guys see this. If you play Imperials, like Space Wolves, like I said, the Centurions, Bike Stars, anything you can think of, this guy is so strong. I mean, imagine your toughness 5, 2-wound Centurions with Feel No Pain now, just out of nowhere. So strong. So, no surprise that one of my clients that I'm painting a Space Wolf army for with a bunch of Thunder Wolves, he asked me at the last second, what else do you think I need for the commission? I was like, well, Blood Angels just dropped, so I feel like you need a Sanguinary Priest on bike and 5 scouts. Now, to note, we did paint close combat scouts. I would normally only do the close combat scouts if they were going to go in a transport. Otherwise, I would do maybe bolters or something, because even though the Blood Angel scouts have Furious Charge, they're unlikely to actually get into combat. They're really just going to infiltrate and hold an objective. But if you ever do got the opportunity to charge somebody, you do have 3 attacks, strength 5. That is pretty good. So you can see that the scouts are coming along here. Hitting them with that little subtle highlight, just dropping it off. They're getting really bright, but still have that dark, antique look. That real natural flavor that I was talking about. You just can't go wrong with this. Like I said, I have a million ways. Like, I use the pre-shade techniques, going to white, black to white, gray to white, even green to white in sometimes. Like I said, this is like the traditional, in your mind. You go from dark and you nurture it up to a lighter color. That's not always the case, but this is what I'm showing you. This is like the most obvious way to use an airbrush. As long as you have the colors right and the control right, it will work very well. Also, the Sanguinary Priest, even though he's usually white, I just don't like that white armor on him. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to paint him mainly red. And then I'm going to paint maybe some gray to white in some of the fields on his armor. And then probably paint his like chest area gold. I don't know yet. Like, I just know I don't like the white, and I'm just not going to paint it white. You can see here now I'm just spotting out on, you know, doing my thing. We're going back to the burnt umber actually here in a second. So now that I've done all those highlights, what I like to do is go back and create the shadow in a different way. Like, so when you paint red over burnt umber, it's going to look different than when you paint burnt umber over red. Always going to look different. There's a different texture to it. So now what I want to do is I want to come back in and hit some of those areas, just a little bit more definition, a little bit darker, more extreme contrast. Contrast is the name of the game. They will teach you this in art class. If you can create contrast, you will create good art. So we went from a really dark color to a really light color. And then I'm coming down and doubling on that dark color in some seriously, just little spots, little areas, not the whole thing, not going to wipe anything out. Just want more contrast. Can't go wrong with it. You'll always impress people with more contrast. And as you can see here, I'm just throwing some of that burnt umber up underneath them. I'm even trying to completely paint their pants with the burnt umber while I'm throwing this contrast in there. It'll come into play here in just a second. And you can see here, like, definitely getting those legs all the way brown. Like, it's just going to save a little bit of time as far as pre-shading goes, because I'm even going to paint them kind of khaki. So I'm going to pull out another Vallejo color, like this earth tone, and I'm going to kind of use it as a khaki color. And I'm just going to come in and just paint it over the legs, man, real quick. And you can see now where the legs are all brown, this technique is really going to start looking really good. Like, the pre-shade's already done. It's kind of like a primer. It sticks really well. Anywhere you kind of don't quite get the maximum coverage, the brown's still going to be poking through, looking good. Just a little simple trick, you know, picked up along the way doing this thing pro. Use the airbrush. You can do a little bit of prep work with the airbrush. I'll even come back in later with the airbrush after I'm, you know, much later, and I'll even highlight the legs a little bit. It's hard to explain now, but I will show you later. So now I'm going to pull out some old Vallejo black, one of my favorite colors. And I'm going to start painting the boots. Kind of like with these types of models with all their pouches and their boots and all that shenanigans, if you can just spend a little bit of time picking out the boots, picking out some of the pouches, etc., etc., you know, it'll really go a long way. I'll tell you, man, like, these scouts are so much more detailed than they should be. Like, for a 55-point troop choice, it's obnoxious. Like, tactical Marines are way easier to paint because they don't have all the ammo pouches built in. You can leave them off. These are just, you know, ridiculous. But, you know, scouts are really point efficient, so you need them. So now we're going to pull out some black metal from the Vallejo airline. It's kind of like reminiscent of the old bowgun metal. I really like it as a starting place for the metals on the Space Marine weaponry. And you can see, lay it on, put it on their little bow pistols, paint all the metals you can with it, go crazy with it. At a later stage, I'll come back in and kind of wet blend, or not even wet blend, like kind of like wet dry brush some lighter metal in over all this stuff. Not a true dry brush, but like a streakier wet dry brush, because I'm still going to wash everything. I'm going to show you guys this next level process. You guys saw me do the horrors, you saw me do the elves, you see my style. What I'm really just doing here is blocking in all the colors. We're blocking in all the colors, we're going to wash all the colors, and then we're going to highlight all the colors. Really simple. And in this video, I'm just showing you the base work, how to block them in, the process, and it's assembly line. You see, I'm working on 5 guys at once. I don't just paint, like, a lot of guys paint one model for their tutorial. That is fine. I don't like doing that because I know that you're always going to paint this one model better than you would normally paint it if you had 10 of them. So what I'm trying to show you is a way to paint 5, 10 models at a time, have them look really good. I'm not going to sit there and do some extra highlights on something that I normally wouldn't do just to impress you guys. I'm really just trying to show you how to maximize your time in the hobby and still come out with a really good product that you would be proud to put on a tabletop. I'm not gonna show you guys something I don't normally do in my commission process. It's literally gonna be one for one, everything I do. And you can see now I pulled out the molten bronze. Yeah, use the second time you guys see me use this color. I'm using it as the base gold, and I know a lot of Blood Angels, they use black for the wings and their chest or white, but I like gold. It's more fun. I'm gonna come in with another Vallejo color super quick with the bronze flesh. I'm going to use it as the first coat on all their faces. It sticks really well. Some of the GW ones stick a lot better. Some of the privateer ones. It's just that I use what I have. I don't have any dwarf flesh laying around or whatever. So I feel like those paints are a little bit better for flesh than the Vallejo Air. They don't cover as much as I want them to cover. So you see, I went to the bronze. Now I have to go to the elf skin tone. Like, I really want to be at this elf skin tone, whereas the GW elf flesh would have just done this, like, with more coverage from the beginning. So that's one of my... I'm using this paint because I have it. I normally don't recommend it. You just use the GW elf flesh. It'll stick better. And you'll see I'm going back to the hair. I'm just using that same color I use on the pants, that what is it called? The earth shade or whatever it is. I'm using that on their hair, maybe mix them with a little bit of black. Maybe I'll do some guy's hair, just pure burnt umber. Like, mix it up, do my thing. You see I'm wet blending a couple of streaks in. I will wash all that and then come back. So you don't really have to linger. As you can see, there he is. He's really tidy. All the colors are blocked in. I mean, here they are, the 5 scouts. Where you can see I'm assembly lining them up, and you can see that one guy in the middle is ready for the next stage. In the next video, I will finish them all and show you possibly the wash stage. Yo, let me do a couple of shout outs real quick. Stoner Steve, Blood for the Blood God. I got Carl Finch, Gregory, and Ben Hopper. Thank you guys. You guys are awesome. Thank you for being a Patreon, patron of the arts. Don't forget to check out my page. It's a big deal, and thank you guys so much for watching this video. Yo dog, don't forget, tutorials drop every Wednesday. Here are a few tutorials I've done in the past. Thanks for watching. Also, don't forget to subscribe to Spiky Bits on YouTube. Rob Bear's dropping some sick tutorials over there. And please check out The Long War, our new heat.